silly games of second guessing. I just forget the lessons that I couldn't learn, because one street over there's a life I could have known that would have kept me from the one I have today. Simply curtain that rises to the stage. Silly games of second guessing. I just forget the left.
Guys, this is 1100 WSGI. I'm U-Turn LaVern, and this is One Street Over. We're so glad to be here, so thankful to be here with you. Joi Wasill's in the house. Hello, my friend.
Good morning.
Good morning, good morning. I was sitting here talking to her, and I was like, we got to get on with it, man. We got to get on with it. We let the guys sing for just a minute, but we've got so much to do. I know you're expecting to hear Mayor Vogle because we had the county commissioners meeting last night. But Joy's schedule is so slammed coming up on this wonderful event with Riley Gaines that we just didn't have another. This was the only time you could be here. And I said, Mayor, can we borrow 30 minutes of your time? And that just means he and I don't get to sit in G Hall. We do waste a lot of time, Mayor, and he knows we do. So he's coming in at 7:30. And so I appreciate that so much, Mayor. So y'all just sit tight if you want to hear about the commissioners meeting. He'll be in here at 7:30, but I just had to get you in before the deadline to sign up for this event.
Yes, it's April 24th.
Yeah. Turn that microphone right to your mouth so you're talking right in the top of it. But that's just it. You've got 2 days left to get registered to be a part of this event. And Riley Gaines, I mean, she's a local. She is a absolute national hero with her bravery just to stand up for her rights. My friend Muriel Barnett, we've been talking about you, Muriel, this morning. Muriel is a very outspoken supporter of women's sports, and I am too. She was way more athletic than me. And so I played basketball because there was nothing else to do. I was just never that big into women's sports. She was. And man, she gets, you won't get her riled. You just start this conversation. And so Riley is such a hero to her. And so she's like, we've got to go, LaVern. And so it was just one of those things. And it was on her radar before it was mine. So how did all this happen?
Actually, I met Riley last year at an event in Huntsville, Alabama, where she was speaking. And we were just talking, and she shared with me that she was from Gallatin, Tennessee. And I don't think I knew that. I thought she was from Kentucky for some reason, because she was a swimmer at the University of Kentucky.
Yeah.
And we started talking, and she said, well, I'm from Gallatin, Tennessee. And I said, what? I said, I'm in Hendersonville, just right down the road. So we talked about that. And I said, well, I'm having an event next year. I would love to have you, because what you do just is so pertinent to what we do in the schools, going into middle schools and high schools and teaching the children and the students and the adolescents the truth about the choices that they're making and how those choices impact them, not just today, but for the rest of their lives. And so much of what they're getting from social media and any source of information, unfortunately, from some of their school curriculum, from a lot of most of it coming from social media, but a lot of it's just flat out lies. And the culture has been so saturated with deception and lies and information that's not even biologically true anymore. And so Riley's message that night just really resonated in me, that she needs to speak at our next event. And so I asked her. That was last February. And then we connected again just by chance at Cave Coffee Shop up in Gallatin. And and so we just started the conversation. And in January, she called and said, my schedule's open, so we're good to go.
Oh,
So we're
wow.
super excited to have
Yeah.
her and her family. This will be a hometown speaking gig for her because she's all over the country. If you notice,
Oh, yeah.
you turn on your TV and she's on TV somewhere.
Yeah.
So we're just fortunate to have her in our hometown, in her hometown in Sumner County. And we're combining normally we have a Robertson County event. We had one in October.
Right.
You were there. It was a
Yes.
wonderful event at Temple Baptist Church. But we're combining them this year simply because the cost factor of having Riley and the speaking fees and her security team that has to come with her.
Yeah.
We wanted all of our Robertson County people to get to hear her too.
Right.
And we're really, really excited because we have a lot of tables of Robertson County folks coming. So
And this is at to give them all the particulars. It's at Long
it's at
Hollow.
Long Hollow Church in Hendersonville on Long Hollow Pike. It's May 1st, so it's a week from this Thursday, and you have until this Thursday, the 24th of April, at midnight to register. You can go online at our website at dcoinc.org and just click the tab Events, and there will be information. There is a ticket price of $50 to attend, but we're serving a wonderful meal of 2 choices of meat and fabulous food, fabulous environment. And you'll get to meet and hear from a lot of different people involved in the ministry of DCO and meet a lot of your friends from Robertson County that are going to be there.
And I'll let you explain to me that because I've been involved with you guys for a while, and I didn't really understand the way y'all are doing this. But when you have somebody like Riley come in, just like y'all had Huckabee, if you do not have a ticket price, people that are just fans will come and they won't. I mean, you go to these dinners with the understanding that you are certainly going to leave a donation to help offset the cost and to help with the program. And it is a fundraiser. And so what you couldn't have is just have people all come in, have a free dinner, and then just leave because they wanted to hear Riley. And I get that.
Right.
And I didn't understand completely the structure of it. I mean,
Yeah.
it wasn't a concern of mine, but I'm glad you explained
Yeah.
that to me because I think there's some people that have been involved with it and like, well, why is there a ticket price this time? And that's why.
Yeah.
And
Well, actually, you mentioned
know.
the Huckabee event. That was our largest event that we've had in the past 11 years since we've been doing dinners to raise money for the operations of Middle Tennessee programs, which is Sumner, Robertson,
it's
Davidson, and Wilson.
expensive. It's expensive.
Yeah, and the food prices have gone up so much
Oh,
in
I
the last
know.
couple of years. But that year that Mike Huckabee was our keynote speaker, we had the largest number of people, but it was the smallest percentage of donations compared to guests. So we paid for a lot of people to come and eat that simply came to hear Mike Huckabee in person and speak.
Yeah.
And it was wonderful. We were glad they were there. But the whole point, as you said, is we have to raise the money to keep our teachers, our DCO teachers, inside the classrooms of Robertson and Sumner County schools.
And it's not, and y'all do it really a lot less expensive than what you would think.
Oh, yeah.
When I hear the numbers every year, I'm like, I really can't believe they're doing this for that.
Yeah.
I'm really blown away with how frugal and efficient you guys are budgetarily.
Well, most of the people
know.
who work for us see it as mission work.
Yeah.
And it's
so
a
that makes it
ministry,
different.
and they do it for the greater good.
Yes.
It's not for a paycheck. I mean, we want to pay them more, and we hope
Yeah.
to be able to at some point. But they're very committed. It's a very
Mm-hmm.
special person that chooses to come and work for us because you're going into a classroom of middle school kids or high school kids, and you're talking about some of the most difficult subjects.
Mm-hmm.
Their choices to remain sexually abstinent,
Mm-hmm.
the consequences when they don't, pregnancy, all of that, STDs, and you're talking to them now about healthy relationships. The kids now, and I know you know this because you're in a classroom every day, they don't know the difference between healthy and toxic. They think all relationships are toxic.
Mm-hmm.
And when we ask them that question, give us some, markers of a healthy relationship, they can't.
Wow.
But when we say give us some markers of a toxic relationship, they can list them in spades. And so we have a culture of children that are not being raised in the nurturing, loving environment where parents are pouring into them and demonstrating to them what a healthy relationship looks like. And a lot of our kids are saying every day, why would I wait till marriage? I'm not getting married. Why would I get married? Nobody does that anymore.
Yeah.
And so they haven't seen it demonstrated,
Right.
in their families. And unfortunately, culture speaks so loudly into them. And it almost drowns out the other voices whether it's parents or church or, anybody that's trying to teach them truth. And so we all have to come together. And that's one of the things we talk about at DCO is it takes a community coming together to put that shield of protection around our kids. So we all have to be invested in helping. And we see a lot of grandparents who are very concerned about their grandchildren. And we host these workshops at churches and community organizations all over Tennessee, Robertson County and Sumner County, probably the most heavily concentrated. We just had one last week at Grace Park, just right on the Robertson County line, and we've got some more coming up in the fall. But at those parent workshops, we're teaching them what they need to be doing and what they need to understand that their child is facing in the online world so that they can protect them. Because we just had last week,
You were going to tell me about this, yeah.
9 men that were arrested. One was a woman, but 9 people arrested in Hendersonville for soliciting sex with minors. Mm. And this issue of sextortion and people posing as 13 and 14-year-old boys or girls and then making friends with these kids online, then they're getting them to send nudes. And yesterday our staff, we were talking about it, and one of the staff members that's been with us for 15 years, she teaches in all of the high schools in Sumner and Robertson County. And she said, every day I have girls come up to me and say, I've already sent a nude. What do I do? Because they're all doing it. Wow. It's like very, very common. You think, well, why would somebody send a naked picture of themselves? It's as common as sending text messages.
That's just breathtaking to me.
And then you've sent it to someone who's not who they said they were or what their profile said. And then they start extorting for either money or sexual. That's where a lot of human trafficking comes in. And that's what that sting operation by the TBI was. And they're doing it all over the country, and especially in the South, just right down the road in Alabama, in North Alabama, they had 2 different sting operations, the same thing. They had all these men soliciting sex with minors and actually meeting up with the supposed minor, and they arrested them. So it's happening everywhere, and parents don't understand that when you give a child access to unguarded, unprotected internet access, whether it's a phone, a gaming device, or their computer, and you don't have any filters on there, they're subject to that predator coming in and posing and then getting their information. And then sextortion, there have been so many suicides in the last 2 years. It's one of the most it's one of the fastest increasing crimes against children, particularly boys, 14 to 17.
Wow. Really?
Suicide, yes. There was a boy in Bowling Green, Kentucky, just about 3 months ago. And there was a little girl in Talladega, Alabama, that because of cyberbullying, she was 5th grade, 11 years old. And she committed suicide in the middle of the night because some of her classmates were just horribly bullying her. And I mean, my first thought was, why does she have a smartphone?
Yeah.
And why does she have it in her bedroom at night?
Yeah.
There's nobody that can buffer, or in the dark of night, things are always worse. Mm-hmm. And so her mother gets up the next morning and finds her child dead in the bed.
Yeah.
11.
That's incredible.
And so we have to do more of this parent education. So DCO has really been focusing always our main focus is on educating the children. But we also have to do a lot of education with parents and bring them up to what's really happening. And for years, I mean, we've been doing this. This is our 23rd year. We're finishing our 23rd school year.
Wow.
So we've been hearing from teachers, classroom teachers, that have been teaching for a long time, saying, you've got to get to the parents. You've got to tell the parents this. You've got to open their eyes. And unfortunately, I heard from a teacher in the summer when I was doing a teacher education workshop, and he said, I've been teaching for 30 years, and he said, it's the saddest thing I've ever seen. This generation of kids is just lost. They're a lost generation. And he said, we don't have parents anymore. We have birthers.
Yeah.
They're not parenting. And so kids are treated like little mini adults. And they're handed all of the things, the responsibilities, the access to things that no one, and psychological studies have said no one under 16 should have a smartphone.
Right.
No one, no child.
I agree. And I had this conversation. As I'm working on my curriculum, and this is something we've talked about, I've got to get a routine of having you guys come in and do the social media stuff in my classroom. And it's something had it on my in my viewfinder. We just haven't made it happen, and I apologize for that. But I was talking to the kids yesterday, as I've got seniors about to graduate, and I've got adults they're 18 for the most part. There's a few still that are 17, but most of them are adults now. And for whatever that means, I mean, it's just an age. I mean, but we call them adults when they hit 18. So I went around the room and asked each one of them. I said, I'm doing this because I'm wanting to bring in a more social media stuff next year. And I said, when were you given a phone? Consistently, 5th grade was the answer. 5th grade. And I said, what were the restrictions put on that phone? Well, at first it was this, and this, and then they took it off because I kept wanting to download stuff, and it was trouble to the parent. And so that was consistently the thing too. It's like, well, they didn't leave it on there, or they never put any kind of barriers on it. And then I ask every one of them, were you good? Did you behave? Did you go anywhere you shouldn't have? No, I was good. I was like, yeah, right. I mean, I didn't call. I didn't say I don't believe you. A few of them I did, and they really seemed sincere. I'll be honest. I didn't get the impression from them, you're lying to me. But so maybe they really were just gaming and stuff. I don't know, because the reactions I got really kind of surprised me. I figured I'd have several of them go, yeah, I had a couple of them do that. One in particular that was just super honest with me. And I got so tickled because he's kind of notorious for being a little bit of a handful, but he's super honest about it. And I love him. I love him all to pieces. I'm going to miss him like crazy. But I was just talking to him and I said, and a lot of them thought it was too young, that it was really too young to have one. And now that they're adults, and I'm wondering if there's going to be the generation coming next that are going to be more strict on.
Oh, I think
because
so.
once these kids that have had all this freedom start having their own kids going, I don't want them doing that.
Right.
So, I mean, we may have a turn. I think
we will. I think we will, because there's so much bullying, cyberbullying going on. I mean, with the example of that 11-year-old from Talladega. I mean, she was being horribly bullied by 3 boys in her class.
Incredible.
Just days on end, and then it just came to a fever pitch that night, and she killed herself. And so, but a lot of school systems and even state legislatures are passing no cell phones in schools bans. The state of Alabama has it in the session
here,
and I don't know if it passed or not.
I thought it did.
I think it did. I'm pretty sure it did. But we've been seeing it for a couple of years now, and in a lot of the schools that we're in, they either have a container on the back of the teacher's door where the kids have to put their phones. And what the teachers have found, like at Good Pasture Christian School just down the road, they started it last year, and they said the discipline issues have pretty much gone down to nothing in the classroom.
Wow.
And the environment of the school has changed. And we actually noticed it. One of our educators down in Alabama noticed it, and she didn't know that they were a cell phone free school until later in the day when the principal came in. And the principal said, well, because of y'all's program here about all the dangers of online media, she said, we just eliminated cell phones from our school. And our educator said, that's what's different this year.
Yeah.
She said, I could tell the kids were more interactive with each other. They were more interactive with me and more attentive. They didn't have their phones on their desk or their earbuds in, and they're listening to something. And so teachers know that the cell phones in 2nd, 3rd, and 4th grade are causing so much of the chaos in their classroom.
2nd, 3rd, and 4th grade, that just seems incredible to me that those kids have phones.
It's ridiculous.
That's insane. I get tired of wrestling with my kids over the phones. We have in audio and video, sometimes we need your phone because and now that we've gotten more equipment, we don't need it as much. And so I'm, getting back more strict with phones and stuff, and I can see an absolute difference in it. And it is. I wish we would just not have them. And I know I'm fairly sure that it did get passed as a state. Now there are some guidelines on there saying it can be used under the teacher's guidance if it's needed for class and those kinds of things. That's pretty much the language reads to me. If I was reading the right thing, very similar to what we already have as a rule in Robertson County.
Okay, good.
But then it's up to each school to enforce it.
Right.
And that's the rub, is that you do need them sometimes for different things, and you can use them. And so, and you come down to if they're not on their cell phones, then they're just going to be on their little laptops,
right,
that they have.
Right.
And so trying to police that is it's exhausting. I've had several students that I can, you've got to stay on task, you got to get this done. And the minute my back is turned, they're back on the games.
Yep.
Because all I got to do is go in and search their history.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be like, okay, pull up your history. And I'm like, there it is.
Yep.
And that's the reason why they're not getting their stuff turned in.
Right.
And a lot of it's, they're just gaming.
Mm-hmm.
But I talk to my kids really point blank too, like, are you, we'll call it the P word, and they'll give me this kind of sheepish look. And I'm like, you have no idea what you're doing and how you are destroying your relationships that you'll have later.
Yes.
And two, I talked to them about the addictive aspect of it, because working with Celebrate Recovery, I said, you have the people who we deal with in Celebrate Recovery, only 30% are alcohol and chemical. The rest of it is the P word.
Right.
Gambling. I had a huge problem with kids gambling because they do that on the GoFan thing, whatever it is,
right.
they get addicted to that. And it's just, I have really frank conversations with my kiddos, and it's shocking, but then I feel like I said, that turn is coming, because I think that they're seeing the necessity. And we're talking, just to kind of remind you guys, we're talking, Mayor Vogle will be in here in about 10 minutes. I want to make sure we get all this in, but everything that goes on, decisions, choices, and options, I heard about it for the first time. I think it was at a Republican meeting. You came and spoke as many years ago. And immediately I was like, that's it. Because people ask us all the time. I've had my toe in the political waters enough that people go, what can we do to make a difference? This is what you do to make a difference. And I say this about decisions, choices, and options. I say it about Open Door Pregnancy and Resource Center and the places like that. You want to make a difference. You change your community from the inside out. That is what this is. Give them some statistics about what you guys do.
Well, when we go into the schools, I was a high school teacher. That was my career before starting this ministry. We give them a little pretest. And we ask, of course, middle school is a different curriculum than the two high school curriculums that we have. So we test them over the content that we're going to be teaching just to see where they are and what they understand coming in. And then we do the same exact test on the last day of the program when they've completed our programs. And it's amazing that the things that we want them to understand so that they can change their beliefs or their behaviors to align with what's known as optimal health, which is risk avoidance.
Right.
We want our kids to learn the skills of delayed gratification and understanding how to have self-control, and because we want them to be healthy adults, and healthy adults have to have those traits and understanding of the skills. I don't think any employer, when I speak at the chamber or other places that are mainly business focused, I always ask them, what are the skills and traits in employees that they're looking for that they're just not seeing anymore? And it's always something to do with lack of self-control.
Wow.
And it's not being able to communicate, because they're just communicating online and not having that interpersonal skills. But lack of self-control is a huge one. But we see that once they've completed our programs, one of the major focuses that they understand is that if they choose sexual abstinence. So see, people think, well, why is it important to talk to kids about sex? Well, that's a huge control issue. They have to learn self-control during those adolescent years so that they're making good choices going forward. But it also teaches them how to have self-control in other areas of their lives as well. So it's a skill that transfers, but it's big in the area of sexual self-control. And so we see from the pre to the post that about 57% of the students say that having sexual abstinence as their choice will get them to the career and educational goals that they want. And not having that will cause them harm. We also see that 21 to 27, it depends on the age group, whether we're talking to middle school or high school kids, 21 to 27% change their mind. The ones that come in saying, no, I'm not going to be sexually abstinent until I'm married. Of that no category, 21 to 27% change their mind to yes.
Wow.
Because they see what a huge impact that it has. It's not just about pregnancy and STD prevention. We talk about that too. And we still talk about all the pregnancy options and what they look like and how hard each one of those options are. But they understand that it's such a big spillover into their educational life, into their financial life, and then into their married life in the future, because there's so many studies out there that give us great information about how the sexual abstinence component changes even their ability to complete their classroom. They have higher grades. The students who choose sexual abstinence will score higher on their grades. They're more likely to go to college and to graduate from college because they've learned some of those key traits: self-control, self-regulation, delayed gratification, focusing on their future, not just the here and now. And those are skills that for some reason have just not been taught very much in the last 5 or 10 years.
So 21 to 27%.
Yep.
Like you'll sit down, you'll have a set number that'll say, okay, yes, I'm going to remain abstinent. And then it will go up by 21 to 27% that will be like, okay, me too.
Yep.
Right.
The ones that said no at the beginning.
Said no, that I'm not going to be
Yes,
abstinent. They change it. Yeah.
Yes,
And
yes.
I think that came out a little bit wrong. And so I just want to make sure people understand that big of an increase after they go through this educational program.
And they
That's
also
astounding.
They also see the difference between the pregnancy options. They come in very negative toward adoption. They say, how could you do that? Why would I, quote unquote, give my child away? They don't understand what adoption is. They don't understand that it's a loving, life-giving, healthy choice for the baby and for the teen mom and dad. So that has the hugest percent swing. They go from no, they don't like adoption, to 73% change to yes, adoption is a good option. So, and then they also change about the issue of abortion. We talk about that. Even though everybody thinks it's illegal and gone in Tennessee, it is not.
No, it's not.
The numbers are higher than they were before Roe v.
no.
Wade fell.
It's ridiculous.
Because everybody's doing mail order abortions. They're ordering it, from some online provider, and they're not supposed to ship it here, but they do, we know. And so 27% of our students that say abortion is a good choice say no after our program. So that's also a pretty incredible change that
you
they're
better
saying.
believe it.
Because we show, last year the legislature passed the law that said we have to show the baby Olivia video, the fetal growth and development video in all Tennessee public schools that talk about reproduction or, childbearing or anything like that. But DCO's been teaching it since 2006.
Yeah.
We've had fetal growth and development with 4D and 3D fetal growth and ultrasounds, and we've been showing it from the beginning, almost the very beginning of our ministry, because they have to know that they're making a choice that, in fact, that mostly impacts an unborn child's life. And if you can show them those ultrasounds and let them hear that heartbeat and let them see that that's really a baby.
Yeah.
And so we do see that swing in the numbers of people who are children who think abortion is not a good option after they've participated in our programs. So those are some pretty, basic statistics. There's a lot others. They understand the importance of putting boundaries, particularly our middle school students. They understand that boundaries on their physical life, but also on their online and their emotional life, because so much of the online world that they're engaging in is very harmful to their emotional lives. And, some of the things we're going to share at the event next Thursday night deal with a lot of the statistics that social scientists have now. They have enough data that they can report that our children are in mental distress everywhere.
Yeah.
And I think it's an epidemic of childhood mental health disorder. And a lot of it is stemming from their access to social media.
I agree. And I mean, if you want to be a part of this, guys, I know we're about out of time. There comes the mayor, but we wanted to get Joi in here. Hey there, how are you doing? You coming in to say hi? We'll give you just a minute to wrap up with her. You can come in and get comfortable if you want. You want to listen? That's funny. Have y'all met?
I don't believe so. I'm Joi.
This is our county mayor, Mayor Vogle. But I would feel like that y'all maybe have crossed paths at some point.
Yeah, I've been up here speaking in events.
So many times.
Yeah.
But let's just do the big invite one more time before we let the mayor take over here. But this event, you've got 2 days still to register. 2 days to register, guys. Riley Gaines is going to be the speaker. It's going to be amazing. But this is about raising funds to keep this program open, alive, and vibrant in this area. You're in all the schools in Robertson County.
Yes.
This is a game changer, guys. The minute I heard Joi for the very first time, I have been a sponsor. I have been a part of this. This is if you're trying to figure out where to tithe, there you go, right here. This is a good place, because how much does it cost to what do you the Lifesaver program. What is the
Lifesaver program,
Right.
that's our monthly donor program.
Right.
And our cost to provide our programs for a student to go through our middle school and our 2 high school programs is $40 per student.
Yeah.
So someone could say, well, I want to sponsor 1 student, 2 students,
Right.
10 students, whatever.
Right, whatever you want
And
to do.
then they invest that monthly to cover the cost of getting our educators, because our mileage, we travel
mileage alone.
over 11 counties of Tennessee, all the way down to the Alabama line and the Kentucky line. So our educators are out driving all over middle and southern Tennessee. And so our mileage alone is like $32,000 just to get them all to the schools.
Right.
And, and then we have curriculum and all of the things that you have to run an operation of our size. I mean, we're going to speak to 16,000 high school and middle school students this year in 2025. And about 1,600 are going to be right here in Robertson County.
Yeah, there you go, guys. If you want to make a difference from the inside out, be a part of this. If you want to know more about it, go to the program next Thursday night, May 1st at Long Hollow. What time does it start?
6 o'clock.
6 o'clock. You've got 2 days to get your tickets, and how can they get tickets?
At DCO Inc., DCOINC.org.
Oh, we'd love to just pack it out
Yes.
and raise a lot of money. Love you, friend.
You too. Thank
you.
you for your support.
Always my pleasure. And I'll let you guys make your switch while I do a little commercial here. Thank you again. We'll see you soon. Thank you, Joi. Joi Wasill with Decisions, Choices, and Options. Mayor Vogle is going to take over now as he comes in and sits down. But while they're making that switch, let's talk about our friends Barry and Rebecca Richards with Exit Prime Realty. Anything you need to know in the real estate community. They are amazing folks to work with. They are just dear friends of mine and have known them from the very first moment that I met them at the Kilgore Station Bluegrass Festival. Many years ago. They on the board. They're some of the founding sponsors, still sponsor the program. Go ahead and sit down there, Mayor. And I just love them a lot. They have been dear friends ever since I met them. And I have people ask me about real estate. I have kids that want to be realtors, and I have introduced a few of them to Barry and Rebecca because Rebecca says when she wanted to go into real estate, she looked for a company that checked every box that she needed to be a realtor, and that's what she found in Exit, and they're still with Exit. They were with the Garden Gate team for many years. They switched over to Exit Prime Realty. They just brought you a new branch in the Exit tree. Same great team. When Barry opened his brokerage office and then she took her real estate office, they combined those two to bring you that new branch in the tree. Their expertise, she's one of the first in the area to be a seniors real estate specialist. Barry was a marketer for 17 years with a media marketing company up in Nashville. You get that kind of expertise to the table. You got every box checked when it comes to realtors too with them. So whether you want to be a realtor, whether you're buying or selling, whatever it might be, you can sit and talk with them at the Kilgore Station Bluegrass Festival, but you do not have to wait until then. You can hook up with them anytime. Just give them a call. You can give Rebecca a call at 615-504-7425, 615-504-7425, or 7424 is Barry's number. Or go to sellwithbecky.com, sellwithbecky.com, or buy, B-U-Y, robertsoncounty.com. Always let them know that you turned. Mayor Vogle's in the house. Thank you, friends. Enjoy some of the time. What they're doing in the schools is incredible. It really is. It's just a good program, and I'm telling you, they're making a difference. And so be sure and check it out. And I'll be talking more about it tomorrow as well. But, Mayor, this is your time. Did y'all have a big meeting last night?
We had a good meeting last night.
You did? Was it very long?
We was probably there an hour and 15 minutes.
Okay.
The sheriff made a report at the end of the meeting on new business and talking about crime rate in Robertson County dropping.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That is very good news.
Well, the call-ins from the public is slowed down because of, neighborhood watches and stuff like that.
Okay.
Yeah, it's working.
That is
it's
good
working.
to know.
Working.
Very good to know. Well, let's just jump right into it. I said we because we had to give up a half hour. Very important to talk with Joi. That means we just can't sit here in G-Hall. We're gonna have to get down to business, Mayor.
I noticed this morning coming out, people planting corn and.
You gotta get on that microphone, brother.
I seen my first iris is blooming.
Oh yeah,
Right here in Springfield.
I know.
Purple ones. Yeah, hey, I just want to do a few announcements on my communications.
Sure.
First, I had congratulations to Terrence Summers. He's a county commissioner, and he's been named the head football coach at Coopertown Middle School.
Oh, wonderful.
That's something, yeah.
As
county commissioner. May the 3rd, Kiwanis breakfast. They're having a pancake breakfast at the fairgrounds. And It's all you can eat, gang.
When is that? When is that pancake breakfast?
May the 3rd.
Okay, that's a big deal, guys. That's next Saturday. That's something that comes around every year, and everybody just loves it. So there you go. It's a week from Saturday. I'm glad you put that on my radar.
Then tomorrow morning at the courthouse, the old courthouse, which everybody's back in, well, CASA's having their pinwheels at 9 o'clock. And for, CASA, tell them what that is, LaVern.
CASA is the court-appointed special advocate, and basically what happens is these kids that get into the court system, they will have social workers that'll turn over and all this, but their CASA is somebody that stays with them. You have a CASA assigned to you, and that's who goes with them and just really becomes, just their advocate, absolutely their advocate in the courts, and it's just that familiar face that just gives comfort to these kids and encourages. They're for the kids, period. And as a court-appointed special advocate, it's an incredible program. And Leah does a fabulous job running that. And I've got her in my notes to get her in here. And yeah, the pinwheels are going out tomorrow on the courthouse lawn, and that's what they're about. That's what they're about. It's about calling attention.
I think it's today.
Oh, is it today? Let me look. I'll look real quick. So maybe it is today.
I think it's today at 9 o'clock. And
hang on.
Let me tell you, when these kids, when law goes in these houses at night, and maybe the parents have to be taken out, these kids got to have someplace to go.
Yeah.
So that's what they do. May the 1st, National Day of Prayer. There'll be a 7:30 at the courthouse in Robinson County. There'll be a gathering there that morning at 7:30. And at 6 o'clock, May the 14th, Phoenix Academy is having their graduation.
Okay,
that'd be at Springfield Middle School at the auditorium. Yeah. And one last thing, I want to give a shout out to Steve Haley. He's our county commissioner here in Springfield. Steve does a great job. He's got an article in the paper every week about his growing up in Adams and Guthrie and in Springfield. But Steve's been diagnosed with cancer. Took his first treatment yesterday. He's asking for all your prayers. He believes in the power of prayer. So I'm going to ask everybody to please do that.
Absolutely. I've got some clarification on what the pinwheels are all about.
Okay.
It is Child Abuse Prevention Month is April. And so CASA, again, court-appointed special advocates, they put the pinwheels out to call attention to Child Abuse Prevention Month, and they are putting them out today at 9 a.m. So that is happening right there at the courthouse. That is happening today at 9 a.m. And it's just reminding us that every child deserves a safe, happy, and healthy life, and it's a symbol of hope and a quick reminder that we are paying attention to the situation. And so while CASA, they work to help the kids in their court situations, a lot of the times those kids are in those court situations because they've been put through abuse. And so April is Child Abuse Prevention Month. Those pinwheels will go out today at 9 a.m. A really special time if you can be there by the courthouse to support all of that. So there you go.
Good deal. Leah does a great job.
She's amazing.
Yeah. I went to last week, drug court graduation. You were there.
Yeah, I was there. I'm always there.
And that is something for people to be realized that
we had 9 graduates.
How neat that program is. Through the opioid lawsuit money, we've able to really help that bunch out. And that lawsuit goes for another 17 years, but the money will get smaller and smaller. So eventually the public tax dollars will have to help keep it going. But what we're doing here in Springfield, what they're doing, I'm just behind the scenes. Usually to go to rehab, you have to go through the court system and go through jail. This here is helping people before they get that far.
Yeah.
They can keep their jobs and be working on a program. Yeah, it's some of those people, a year, 8 months, 2 years.
Yeah, I mean, it can be, 8 months to 2 years because you'll have them. It was so funny. We had 9 graduates last week, and it was so funny because some of them, they'll be like, well, they had a little misstep while they're in it, and they had to get back on it, and they had to spend a little more time. And, but it's just a pleasure to be a part of that. They've blessed me and let me be on the board, and it's just amazing. It's just amazing what they're doing.
Well, the peer pressure these people go through today, especially in our schools.
Right.
And you have to stay on top of it. It's like the sheriff's report last night. DUIs is down in the county.
Well, that's good news because
And,
they were up so much.
Yeah, and Thess and our detectives that go out that we don't see are working all the time on this drugs and stuff. And I signed the autopsies. I've told you all this every
Yeah.
month. I'm seeing a change in it. I really am. So something's working.
That's good news.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's one thing he said when he first took over as mayor, the shock of how many autopsies he had to sign for those who were lost to drug abuse or alcohol and things like that, and just it's just the breathtakingness of that.
It's
just-
something
yeah.
behind the scenes the taxpayer just don't see.
Yeah, right.
It affects families and it affects the whole county. Between crime and everything, it's a county problem, and we got to work on it together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we didn't have much on the elections last night. In fact, we didn't have any nominees for committees, but people are coming to me wanting to serve on committees now, especially zoning committees. LaVern, with the problem with the growth we're having, everybody's concerned about it.
Yeah.
So, but we didn't have but 3 zoning issues last night. 2 of them was RP 80 from Ag 2, which is the largest lot you can have under 5 acres, and which is not reasonable at all. And then we had 1 Ag 2 to commercial on the Kentucky-Tennessee line, which I think is going to end up being a like a, kind of like a market that serves food and stuff like that and gas. And that passed last night too. But we're going to get into resolutions because we are running short on time.
Go for it.
And yeah, we had something pretty cool happen. Every year we order a new ambulance. You say, we need one every year. Well, it takes 2 years to get them.
Yeah.
You got to get in line. We had a county call us. Their ambulance came in, but they could not come up with the money to make the purchase. Well, this purchase that they had made was about $50,000 cheaper than the ambulance we had ordered.
Really?
Because I'm telling you, stuff's going up all the time, every day. So we took that ambulance, but with the other $50,000, we had a resolution through the budget committee. Our EMA, 3 guys we got that do our EMA for us, have been needing a new truck for about 5 years. We keep cutting it out of the budget, kicking it down the road. We took that extra amount and gave it to them, and they're going to be able to purchase a new truck in this next budget.
Oh, that's great. Okay.
Yeah, we made that work, and we appreciate Brent staying on top of that. Speaking of Brent's dad passed away this week, and he's from Cookeville, and he's with them. Our prayers are with that family because Brent does a great job with the EMS. We used to have a lot of people, saying, where's the ambulances at? But since we've been keeping the trucks up to date, we're not having near the problems of people talking about calls and wait time, but we are going to have to put another ambulance up White House. The growth up there is phenomenal. Okay, we had a resolution come out of the court system for some computers at the county court clerk. It's about $16,000. Ms. Groves gets a fees that she collects that the state gives back to her for her office only, for all the county clerks across the state. She's using her money, it's not taxpayers' money, to buy these computers. So that, that's being transparent there with the computers. We also had a computers in juvenile court that we needed for, it come out of their budget, and those computers are paid for with the fees that she collects when she has her court system involved, also Chancery Court. All these court systems, the clerks, they collect a fee that we use for maintenance for computers and the screens that the judges use. So try to keep that off the taxpayers. We keep that off of them. We had a big resolution come from schools. They're moving money around all the time, but they had some state money come in, and then they had some tuition money coming in, and then plus some contributions, around $30,000. So they're taking that money and moving around with their regular education money. It's about a 2 or 3 page resolution, but we're talking around $100-something thousand that they're moving around, and to make things work. You may come in short on one, like right here's a library books, $300. Supplies $3,500. They're just all the time may go over on one and not have enough in that account, or maybe over in one, so they'll be moving money around. but they do come to the budget committee and keep us in the know about it. Here's a pretty good budget for those that live on the resolution on Keeney's Road. We had a $795,000 state aid program coming in from state. We're going to start, I think, right out here at Springfield and go towards Cedar Hill with a new state aid road funding for the paint and paving. It's about a $795,000 grant, and LaVern, that's not going to do but 5.5 miles.
And that's just resurfacing?
Resurface.
Wow.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. 5.5 miles.
Yeah.
But we got that moved over last night into the highway
Isn't
department.
that incredible? Oh.
It's unreal.
Yeah.
A regular county road now out in the county is $100,000 a mile.
Wow.
It just blows my mind. Like the governor gave us $1 million last year, and you say, "Wow, man, we got $1 million." Well, that didn't do but 10 miles.
Yeah, that's
It's
what people
just-
don't realize.
Well, and
yeah.
that's the reason TDOT to me is struggling with money. They're hurting, and it's because they got 95 counties and bridges, and the money just will not stretch out.
Yeah.
Just won't do it. It won't do it. We're going to have to do something else. Well, we had another resolution to come from the budget committee for it's buying videos and virtual for Chancery Court, where some of these folks that cannot make it to court can get on their computer at home instead of them having to drive into town, and it's quicker too. Most of these people have already was divorce cases, have done worked their problems out, and they're going on with the divorce, but they don't want to tie up the court system. So that wasn't about $8,600, and that's really going to save a lot of time. A lot of time. We had one big one come through, and I want to get to it. The county office building, the air conditioning units on one side of it they're 23 years old, and
this is the old hospital. This is the
old
big
hospital.
County hospital. Because, you guys are in that new building across the street. We're talking about the
old hospital where you
county
go in
office building
and do
where you
your
get
car
tags
tags
and all
and your
that.
trustee, pay your taxes and
passports, all that.
passports, early voting.
Yeah.
Okay, and then the register of deeds is upstairs. That air conditioning system is 23 years old. It has been on the brink now for 2 years. And we just finally done some checking. I mean, here we know that we need to do it, LaVern, but we just didn't have the funds. Well, about 6 years ago, we started putting $100,000 into an account to keep our buildings up. And these air conditioners are $1.2 million. So we had enough in our accounts to pay for this without going to the taxpayers.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's we're trying to keep our buildings up without going to them. When the jail's got 2 or 3, 4 or 5 on top of it that we're going to have to start on next year. But there's nothing worse than those deputies and stuff that have to wear the body armor, walking around with no air conditioning.
Oh, I can't imagine.
Yeah. You can't shut the jail down, but we don't want to shut the office building down either. Those people can't work in there if there's no air or no heat. So we're doing that project. We had to put up $30,000 in that fund because of the tariffs. We don't know what things are going to cost in the time we get this project done.
Right.
But this is coming without taxpayers, without a tax increase, and it's just part of keeping the buildings up.
Yep, that's
Part of
great.
keeping them up.
Okay.
Okay, I really want to talk about that because I want everybody to know how we have planned a program to keep our buildings up. Like the roof on the old courthouse, we paid for that out of that account too.
Oh, you did? Really? I
did,
didn't realize
1
that. Okay.
Yeah, that roof, it was over $1 million. We didn't have to reach into fund balances. We didn't have to reach into next budget. We're going to raise taxes to pay for it.
Right.
We had that in that account.
That's awesome. Okay. And it looks beautiful.
It does. It looks good, don't it?
Yeah, it does. It looks really good.
It don't leak either.
Yeah.
It don't
That's
leak.
praise the Lord.
Ain't that the truth? I've laid awake at nights when these recent rains we've had, knock on wood.
Yeah.
And I think about Montgomery County. I know the mayor down there, and boy, they're going through it with the flooding in these new homes and stuff. And it's, as we grow, the asphalt runs water off, and you got to have some place where it can reach the ground and go in. That's just all this to it.
Yeah.
That's part of growth. Part of growth.
It's all this rain and stuff, and we got to get to your stuff. But down Lawrence Lane, there's 3 of our neighbors have got sinkholes in their pastures that blow my mind. And they've all put gates around them to keep their livestock out of it. But I'm like, what in the world caused that? And of course, they had the sinkhole up here on Central too, that they had to deal with right next to the building. And that, I mean, because we have so much caves, I guess, is that part of it? Or
we have calcium in our water because we have a lot of set rocks.
Yeah.
And there is caves under the ground that water runs in, and then it goes down to the river, the creeks, or whatever.
Yeah.
And since these last 3 rains, the river's got up in my bottoms 3 times.
Yeah.
And I've got a sinkhole that was about as big around as a chair when it started.
Wow.
Now you could put a pickup truck down in it. I'm talking about the last 3 months.
Wow.
And I have been dumping hay rolls in it,
Yeah.
try to fill it up to make it. And like you say, I've had to put panels around it because of the cattle.
Yeah.
I mean, they're
So
really
you have
falling
one
in.
you're doing with. Wow.
I've got one I'm doing, but this is not the first one.
Yeah.
I've had 2 fall in a big pond I've got, and all that water went straight to Red River.
Oh my
Yeah, a
goodness.
friend of mine was canoeing. He said it was coming out of the bank right up to my farm and was shooting out into the river.
Oh my goodness.
I went back there. I'll never forget. I said, look at all those turkeys around my pond. When I pulled over the hill, I realized what it was. It was buzzards that was eating the fish that died that day.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I lost that whole pond.
Oh my goodness, that's a trip. I mean, it is mind blowing. The sinkholes and stuff. But yeah. Anyway, what else have you got? I don't want us to run out of time, but I just when you
we're
mentioned
knocking
that, I had to mention that because that just blows me away.
I'm asking people. I know some farmers that have been deceased over sinkholes. You can't see them once the grass up, and maybe run off in them with a tractor or something. So people need to be aware of.
Yeah.
They're there, and now we're hearing about them falling around people's houses.
Yeah.
Out in the road I live in, there was one that fell through one night, and the guy going to work next morning about daylight, he went off in it, and I mean they're allowed to fall in anywhere.
That's amazing. Yeah. That's amazing. It's just like I'm getting ready to invest in a water softener for my house because I'm just tired of the hard water, and that's what you're talking about. Is that calcium? Is it right? Is that what hard water is?
That's what hard water is.
That's what I thought.
You know, back in the old days, you used to see it in your coffee pots and stuff, and people would fuss about thinking the water department wasn't doing their job. That's just the area we live in. We have hard water.
Yeah, very. Yeah.
And as a kid, people would drill wells, and usually if they went real deep, they'd hit sulfur water.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was a problem, sulfur water.
So.
But here's where if you know where the UT Extension is, the building, right up here across from the courthouse, that building, if you're a daytime farmer, got a garden or whatever, and got problems, they help you. They work 4-H with the kids. We've had to put a roof on that building about 3 years ago, and now the water was running in around the windows. So we have fixed that. That project's been done. We paid for it out of that account I'm telling you about. Mm-hmm. Well, to finish it up, they need some paint, some carpet done. We had the committee come to us, which is chaired by Jeff Ayers. We have an ag committee, $18,000 to do the carpet and the paint, and that building will be completely refurbished.
All right.
Yeah, and all that was done out of the account that Building Grounds set up years ago. And here's one of the best we got. I had a resolution last night recognizing our 911 telecommunicators. You know, we talk about first responders. Very important, very important. Well, these people that at 911 that you call, whether it's suicide, car wrecks, burglaries, they are the first person that's being talked to. And a lot of times they'll talk to people all through their emergency. We're recognizing them as first responders because the state is talking about helping them more of their pension because some of these people come out of that job line distressed. They're some of them, like the first ones that get to the houses, may be injured. It's they're having emotional and physical problems.
Oh, I can imagine. Yeah.
So it's what post-traumatic stress disorder, and this is maybe helping them get some relief when they retire, that maybe get back to a regular life instead of being on pins and needles all day. Mm-hmm. I mean, these people carry these jobs home with them.
Oh, you know they do.
Yeah.
You know they do.
You know, because some of these emergencies that's called in, they're not pleasant.
Mm-hmm.
And I could see me trying to talk somebody out of something, and you can't see them face to face. You're trying to do it over a telephone, and
Very stressful, I can imagine.
yeah, and there's always a need in that job if somebody feels that they're being moved to be a dispatcher.
Mm-hmm.
Some training involved, getting you ready for it. But how would you like to pick up that phone, call 911, and nobody answer?
And I have such a regard for them. I've spent so much time. People ask me when early days of traffic, how did we compile the traffic reports before we had cameras?
Yeah.
That's how. Is I got to be really good friends with the dispatchers, and they just took such good care of us. They wanted the information out, what they could share, and they would message me or they would call me, and they're like, LaVern, we got a wreck now and such, and we had such a great relationship.
Well,
And
to all you cities out there, you pay 911 fees. And what that is every time that phone rings at that office, a fee is charged to that city because it came from that line. Them fees pay for their salaries and health insurance and retirement.
mm-hmm.
And as we give them raises and stuff, our fees do go up. But anytime you call or the sheriff's department, police departments, when they key at Mike and run a tag check,
Mm-hmm.
that goes through that office.
Yeah.
So you be aware.
It's not cheap.
Yeah, it's not cheap.
No.
That is 24/7, and there's always about 3 operators in there on that line.
You got it. Let's keep going so we don't run
All
out
right.
of time.
We had some state money come in from state, about $6,500. It's what it is. It's emergency medical training program for EMS workers. As they start out, they can move up with more training, move up in rank, and the state gave us some money, and then once you put it all together, it's about $50,000, which will be done for raises because of going up in rank and their knowledge of how to use the equipment we have. Now that comes from the state, so really that's one-time money that will have to be picked up by the county as next year, whatever, as they went up in salary. And right now the state's paying for all the Social Security tax and retirement, but we will have to pick that up.
Right.
Yeah. So that went through last night, and I think we're getting down to the wire here because
Going to get through it all, even
I
in
went
a
through
short
it
time.
pretty quick.
Yep.
But I think I got it all through here. The resolutions,
good.
yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I was a little afraid that we wouldn't, but I appreciate you letting Joi come in because, like I said, we've been trying to get her in, and our schedules just did not mesh. And this, she goes, I can come in Tuesday, and I'm like, ooh, let me see if I can get some of Mayor's time. And so that just meant we just didn't get to, G-Haw as much. We'll make up for it next month.
Well, we was able to get through it, but
Yeah, we did.
hey, starting May, the first Tuesday, we will start on the budget.
Okay.
All the department heads will come in. We're telling them right now we're going into this with a flat budget with no tax increase.
Mm-hmm.
But as they want maybe a new employee, which is around probably $70,000 a year now.
By the time you do benefits and everything.
Right,
Yeah.
right. And how you put the whole package, insurance and stuff. And we got some, like the sheriff, he'll probably need some cars, new cars. The schools, we don't know what they're going to bring to us yet. Have no idea.
Yeah.
So we're starting out flat. Hopefully we don't have to have a big tax increase because we've done good, but folks, the way we're growing,
Yeah.
I hate to say it, it's hard not to keep it off some tax folks that's already here.
Yeah. For
It
sure.
really is.
Yeah.
It really is. It's just a way of life. Last year, we was one of the few counties, the only one I know around Nashville, that touched Nashville, about 6 counties that did not have a tax increase. But it's catching up with us.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
Yeah. And I pay taxes too, ladies and gentlemen. I know what it's like to go up and write that check.
Yeah. So, but we're living good here in Robertson County. We are so blessed, but we appreciate all you do, Mayor.
Well, thank you.
For sure.
Appreciate you.
Appreciate you.
Here it is, 8 o'clock.
Straight up, we've got it's not quite turned. I'm watching the digital clock. It's not quite turned to 8 yet, but it's about that time. And I got to go to school. I got to go work with the kiddos. I just, it's like you say, what is it? We've got the best job in the world because we get to
Work
get
for
up and
Robertson
work for
County.
Robertson County.
Yeah, today at dinner, I've got to go to a luncheon where we're taking up donations for Habitat for Humanity.
Oh, man, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I love that we've had some Habitat houses here.
Yeah.
We've had a couple, and so we're going to continue that because we got a lot of need. So good things happening tomorrow. Your neighbors in your office will be in here. Gwen and Abigail will be coming in here from the Veterans Service Office.
Oh, gosh, I've had more
And-
compliments about that office.
Yeah,
Our
yeah.
veterans are very proud of the way Robinson County treats them.
They will, and
very proud.
we've got some great folks in that office, and we'll be meeting with girls tomorrow. Scott was in here last month, so Abigail and Gwen are coming in tomorrow, so that'll be a great time. And got Tiffany Thompson coming in on Thursday morning. Then we'll have Brian Pulley and the United Way folks then after that, and then Lisa Fort on Friday, I think. No, this will be the 4th. No, Katie Allen's coming in for Faith Friday. So we've just got a jam-packed week.
Well, I hope
ahead.
everybody had a great Easter.
Yeah, I did. How about
Remember
you?
the season.
Amen. He has risen.
Yep.
Amen. Thank you guys so much. This is 1100. Thank you, Mayor. This is 1100 at WSGI. God bless. Have a absolutely fabulous day.
Oh, Jordan.